Hello. Thank you everyone for joining this conference and this final Dev Talk, Craft a Discovery Experience in less than 30 minutes as a non-front-end expert. My name is Nech, and I work in the recommend team at Algolia, surrounded by great people, where I do senior machine learning engineering. But I'm not here today to talk to you about machine learning, although we need a lot to power our recommend products. I'm coming today to talk about discovery experiences. And you've heard some talks about it today. You probably knew this concept from years already. Algolia is, after all, a search and discovery API. But although search is pretty clear, when I discuss with people, I see discovery can be a little fuzzy. In a nutshell, a discovery experience is a way for you to inspire your users that don't know yet what they could make with your products, so that they get as much value as possible out of it. And today, discovery is everywhere. Creation experiences power most of the big brands that we see on the web these days. And if you look at the website from Dior, you can see that from the landing page, they're going to showcase the clothing and the accessories they sell, but also perfumes, beauty products, even their latest collection. They're inspiring you to dive into all their website or application has to offer. And that's not true just for big brands. Whole platforms like Etsy are based around curation and around giving you relevant, trendy recommendations to find right fits for the current season, to see popular items that are right now interesting some users on the platform, or even a daily updated section with new items that the Etsy editors love. And I don't know about you, but when I see something like this, I really dig it. I'd love to have such a page in my product. But the main problem when adding curation is that curation takes a lot of time. You need to know your problem space and your business well. But then you also need to know your users, to build a catalog that addresses their need, and to know each corner of this catalog to bring the right users into the right place. When you crafted your story, you need front-end engineers to implement it in your current application. And once this is finally done, you need to maintain it. You might have a great curated experience that showcases some fursuits, fur coats for the winter at Black Friday deals. But if you provide the same items at a spring break deal, you probably won't convert that much. So it seems complicated. We need to build, and then we need to maintain. And this all takes time. Is there a better way? We look at it together. And this is now the beginning of the live coding discovery experience powered by Algolia Recommend. So let's leave the presentation, open a code editor. I will just wrap that and zoom a little so everyone can read. What we're building for is the PokeSearch app that our friend and developer Levi has been building so far. So I have it working just here on my local server with the code base open on the side. What we'd like to do is something like this, a kind of experience where, and this is something built by my coworker Maria Lungu, I'm grateful for her. It's an example of a page where you could showcase a collection by showing your new users the popular choices, telling them what are the brands that are most wanted, that are the hottest these days, showing a collection with new sneakers for men that we wanted to push, or bold accessories for women that are getting promoted this time. But we're talking about PokeSearch, and so what kind of experience could we build to help our PokeSearch users discover and make the most of our app? It could look something like this, where we would add a new page called Trends, in which you could get inspiration by seeing the top trending cards across all Pokemon decks. But more than individual trends, general tendencies in the types that players choose to compose their decks. You could also take this opportunity to educate our user by telling them about the rare secret cards. It's those Pokemon cards where it's a series of maybe 100 cards, but there is a hidden 101 card added to the series. And we'd like our users to dive into it and to learn that they could search for these two. Finally, we'll help them build the decks by choosing between the existing sets of Pokemon cards. We'll show them the top sets, and for each, the top trending card. But this is too easy. We're doing a live coding, so I will take a big leap of faith and delete my trends page. We run around. Let's go. So the first thing I do is recreate the page from an index. We're working with Levi, and we can start from the PokeSearch landing page that we've been building and using so far. But the main problem is that as a new user, I find it a bit overwhelming if this is how I'm starting to learn about PokeSearch and using this application. So we're gonna clean it up a little for our use case. I will keep most of the structure because we still want to use the instant search library by Algolia to get all of the nice search features that we are going to leverage. But the first step will be to remove the possibility to search. So we're going to get rid of the search box. To remove the possibility to filter. So we're going to get rid of all of these refinement lists that allows you to type by set, type, etc. Keeping only the header with PokeSearch and Ben's icon. Now, we're going to get rid also of the infinite hits to keep only a main structure in which we'll create our trends. Now, in the interest of time, I won't be writing every single class and every single div that we're seeing. We'll focus on the whole trends and on the whole Algolia recommend components. And so for that, I will give us a head start and paste just a little markup that describes the different sections within which we are building. And we will start with the first section. Let me wrap that again. With the first section, with a widget for general trends. Here, we want to show our users a first view of what they could build with PokeSearch. And we want this to be a little inspiration, not overwhelming. How could we inspire our users? This is where I will start introducing recommend models, which you already saw in a few places in PokeSearch so far. You can already head to algolia.com/dashboard if you already have an application. If you don't, you're a free sign-up way of doing it. And then you can look in the sidebar, the recommend product, within which you will find introduction to create your own models. Again, in the interest of time, I created some right ahead. And so we're going to use some trending items and trending facet values models. So how do we do? First of all, we'll head to the Algolia docs. And using the search, we're going to search for trending items. You will find the recommend React library. And because those docs are quite well made, you can directly copy-paste the markup of the widgets. And so if we look at our interface, the first thing we want to do is show general trends across all cards. We need to import our component to give it a client. Let me actually import it up. So we're going to import trending items from recommend React. I will also clean up these while we're at it. Voila. But the items that we render need to be displayed in a way. Our trending items widget will take an index and will display trends from this index using an item component. This can simply be a function that takes an item and that shows how we should render it. We could, for example, take a div and simply render the output of the API so that we would directly see the item. Okay, that's a bit too much. We're seeing a lot of trends. Yeah. So the first thing we'll do is limit that to just 4. Cool. So now we're seeing 4 trends. You might also notice that there's a double title. This is because our recommend components come by default with their own translations that you can style. Here, we will simply remove the title so that we only keep the markup that we have added ourselves. But this doesn't look very nice. And so the first thing we can do is reuse existing components from our app. Because Levi has been creating these card components, we can simply use them for the rendering of our hits. By passing the item to the card, we can get rid of all of this JSON black magic. We just need to import the card. And now we have it. The first section is done. The top trending cards across all decks. One thing that's nice with this approach is that the page we're building integrates with the existing app. And so those cards can be used to fuel the details view that Levi had put on top of the instant search interface. This way, when you click on a card, you see IDs of other cards that would pair well with it, giving you insights into what kind of decks you could build, making sure that as a first user, you're still a happy returning user. All right. So with this first section done, we give a good first idea to our users of what they could do with PokeSearch. But that's far from helping them build a deck. So the second thing we will do is provide them a section with 2 widgets alongside to dive into specific trends. When I'm creating a deck of Pokemon cards, I'm wondering, first of all, what kind of types to use. Do you want to play with darkness, with fire, with dragons, or a mix of these? And as a user, when I'm not sure how to start using your app, it's great to get advice from your existing habituated user that can tell me what they've been playing with so far. This will be the place for a second model, the trending facets value. And so we're going to get back to the Algolia docs, get into the search, look for the trending facets. And again, the recommend component will be there, ready for us to copy-paste some markup and to keep building our app. Let's get back in there. So I'm going to paste the trending facets. You will recognize some properties, like with the trending items. We give it a client. We say an index on which it should apply. We need also a component to render. But this time, we also need to tell a facet name, because we're going to look at trends within a specific vertical. In this case, the types of our cards. We just need a way to render it. But again, this is just something that takes the item that we're going to receive from the API and that renders the item. And the rendering could be even just a div where you would show the item's facet value. I think I missed a return. I probably could have wrote it in a simpler way. Okay, it's the opposite. The return is within the brackets. And now you might see, we're going to get rid of the title again. Now you might see that the trending facets are now rendered. And we're displaying the types that are popular within the current application. This can be quite powerful if you don't use just the data, but also the metadata that we generate. Because all of these trending models will return a score telling you how trendy the item currently is. And this allows you to craft quite a nice experience. The first thing I would do is to make it slightly prettier. And for that, we need to introduce a proper item component. Because you can just hack around like I did and write some logic here. Or you can create a proper thing that will be used to render the facets. So let's go ahead. We'll create a function that is called trending type item, and that takes an item before returning some markup that will make use of this item. And here the markup could be just a title that has a description about the facet. Or we could add on top of the title a little badge with the score so that you display the score of the item. I need to wrap it. Let's make all of this a button. So it doesn't display. There is something. Trending type item here. We're using it in there. And trending type item returns a button. Let me try to replace this by that. It's looking better already. I was missing some classes. Okay, so now we're rendering these items. We still have this superfluous title. So we'll again removing it by adding some translations that are an empty title. We're actually going to reuse these translations across, so I'll call it translations empty. And now we have a button that displays types that are trending. I'm displaying a bit too much, so we're gonna also here make it a one line, maybe with just 4. Perfect. Now, this is nice, but it doesn't help me build a deck. And so what could be cool alongside these trending facets is to give them IDs of cards that are trending for each of the types. We will, for that, use a trending items widget, giving it an index name and giving it a component, which could be just a card. So the item component, let me make some room for it. The item component could be something that takes an item and makes a card with the hit as the item. Perfect. But we want to inspire, so we'll show just one card for each of the types. We'll also remove those translations, so we just see the card. Now, the last missing piece is that for now, what you're seeing is the top trend broadly. But the trending items can take some other parameters. You can ask to have trends only within types that match a value. For example, water. And then we'll also only see the trending items for the water type. To make this dynamic, we're gonna create a current type state so that when we click on the button, we set the type, and this type is used within the trending items widget. So how would we do that? For that, we'll create the current type value, but also a set current type setter. And this will come from the useState React feature that allows you to define a state with a default value. I need to import it. So that now, when you click on a button, it's going to set the value of current type, which is currently unused, but that's the last missing piece of the puzzle. If we go in our trending items, and instead of hardcoding the facet value water, we set it to the state, current type. We now have an interface where if you click on the darkness trend, you see trendy darkness cards. And when you click on the water trend, you see trendy water cards, helping you build a deck with the right type in both cases. Now, what do you do if there is a trending value? People are fighting all over the place, but no trending card that's high enough to make the cuts. We might have no fighting card to showcase. And this is where it would be welcome, in case there is no item, to use the fallback component feature, which would just display something if we have nothing to show to the user. That would at least be better than nothing. For example, we could say, sorry, no results, and have the fallback component be something that just returns that. So that when we choose a type that has no current trendy Pokemon cards, we would at least say, sorry, try something else. And I'm going to make it a little better. So this fallback component, we'll call it the no results, no type results. Yeah, let's just call it no results. Oh no, something called no results already exists. Okay, so it's no type item results. This at least doesn't exist. And no item type results is going to be something that just returns a markup that describes how to get back into a happy state. For this, we're going to reuse the current type so that you can see what the type selected is. And we're going to put a little link, try another type, such as water, with an on-click to set the current type to one that we know will have some pre-defaults. This way, when the user looks at darkness and sees something, then looks at metal and finds no current training cards, they can try another type and get back to exploration and inspiration. We're going to move to the third section, which is about educating our users with the rare secret cards. And this section 3 is going to use a widget, but with specific filters to teach about the specific features of your app. We're going to bring in, again, some trending items. I could autocomplete, but I'm going to just get back to the search in the Algolia docs get on the trending items, and copy the markup that has just what I need. Because this time, we're going to pass a specific facet. We want to see the trending items in my index with a specific component. I think I can reuse it because the item component is just going to be displayed in a card. But we don't want to see just all of the trends. Right now, this would Right now, this would simply display general trends with the embryon we've been used to. But now we want to show only the ones that match the rarity for the value secret rare. I think it's actually rare secret. I have a specific index where it is. Oh, I did a typo on rarity. It's rarity. Rare secret. Let me double check that. Yes, the facet value sounds just right. I'm gonna get this back. Probably it's just this index that had the model trained. And there we go. Let me just remove against the superfluous title so that in the secret rarity section, we show the most trendy secret rarity card, giving our users ideas about a deck they could build with strong cards that are rare. But we can do more than that. We can help our users search based on these. It would be nice for them to just come and look and use the rarity filter and search for those rare secret cards. But for that, we need one feature, because right now, by default, when you have a search interface and you search for rare secrets, you're not able to share this to your friends. For this, you would need a feature of the instant search components that is called the routing. And so on our index page, we're going to set routing to true, so that when you use the interface and set a filter to rare secrets, this gets captured in the URL, allowing you to copy the link to share it to a friend, and their friend would see just directly the same state as you were into. So we'll use this in our trends page. For that, get back to trends. We're going to put a link here that just says, try them all, with a link to the main page search. This way, when the users will be looking at the trending rare secret cards and get inspired by them, they'll be able to try them all and to directly see the search interface. But we could inspire them even more to click on these by telling them how many cards we currently have. And so what if, instead of just a link, we gave them a link to it with a count of how many secret rare cards are in our decks today? We need to import that. So we'll create a state for that, like we've created above. By default, count secret rare could be -1. Let's get back to the trends. So we tell them we know of -1 secret rare cards in our players' decks. That doesn't sound worth exploring, but if we create this as a state, we can modify it as the interface loads, so that we start with the value of -1, but we will check for it. And if the count is at -1 when the page loads, we'll take the search client, create an index, and search with an empty query to get all potential cards that match our filters rarity, and we say it's rare secrets. With this query, when then we get a response, we can use that response to just set the count of secret rare cards to the number of hits that we get in the response. This way, when the counter gets rendered here, our search page there our search should happen. I'm seeing an error here. I have been missing this quote. And so, of course, if the filters are invalid, you can't update. But if they're good, we'll show the users that we know 18 secret rare cards. And if they want to dive into, they can click and look at those 18 cards. Okay, The third section is done. We'll be building the last sections now. The last section, which is the top trending card sets. Because now our user is excited. They want to start using PokeSearch. Clearly, there is something for them in here. But where do they start with their Pokemon sets? There are so many different sets of cards to start from. And for the section 4, we'll do a widget within another widget to show trends within a trend. First of all, and you might guess where I'm going, we're going to go with trending facets so that we display what are the top 3 trends in the different sets. So the facet name will be set. And as item component, we will just maybe render a div. So something that takes an item and that returns a div. That up. That describes the item's facet value. Thus, at the very beginning, at the very minimum, we'll have a display of the top 3 recommendations. Oh, I'm missing the index. Of course, you need to tell it where to find those trends into. And now we look at these. We'll see top trends, the top 3 trends in the sets: Brilliant Stars, Fusion Strike, and Evolving Skies. Actually, I think on the second index, I had Evolving Skies first, which was better expectations. But we can do better than just show the titles of the sets. Also, I will first remove this translation to have just the UI I want. So we're going to create a last item component. And this one, we'll call it the trending set item. We'll use it to render the trending facets. But within each, we would like to show one more trend. So I'm going to display, of course, let me copy that. So I'm going to display, of course, the information about the set, which could be just the description. Oh, yes, the item needs to be given to the set, so we can render it. And we need also to return all of this, otherwise there's nothing to render. So now, in our top trending card sets, we will see for each set a little div that has the name of the set. As you can see here, it's the facet value, but that also has the score displayed. We're going to also take the score and build a conditional so that if the score is 100, the top score will show a little trophy. But if it's at least 25, it's a strong trend. We can show an upward chart. If it's below that, it's still trendy, but maybe soon will be replaced by a more trending set, all automatically, thanks to the recommend API. But the last piece here will be to not only show the name of the sets, but to give them IDs with the top trending card. And for that, we'll put a widget within a widget and use the trending items for last time, taking our recommend clients and our index with an item component that's just the card. So I will copy it here, just displaying a card. I'm closing the widget. Now with this, we display a card within each. Again, with my own markup, I don't need the title, so I'm going to get rid of it. And as a final piece of our plans, we're going to use, for the facet name, a filter on set, but for the facet value, a filter on the broader items facet value, so that each one renders a different card from the trending set, giving our user an idea how to build a deck starting with Evolving Skies, probably using some Zorua and other darkness cards, or how to start their set with Chilling Rain, playing with this nice Moltres and the cards that pair well with it. They could also add some trending darkness steps using our trending models. So there we have it, a landing page built in about half an hour that inspires our users, all built by a non-front-end expert. And so to get back to our presentation, it looks like there is another way. Curation can be made easy. In the end, if you get the right APIs with enough data, with the right building blocks as UI components, you could build something like this in your app or website in a very short time. And to conclude, discovery is a conversation. Your users who come for the first time, they don't know yet all the nice things that you can offer them. By building great discovery experiences, you can educate them about how to make the most of your app. But the returning customers who think they know everything there is to see about your website could also benefit from discovery experiences, so that they get a refresher once in a while of all the amazing things you've been building. Thank you very much. This is the end of the live coding. We now have a few minutes for questions, if you have any.
If anybody has any questions, just pop them in the chat. My question to you, after seeing so much Pokemon, is which one's your favorite?
Ooh, well, I used to play Pokemon Red, so I have a affection for the starter fire Pokemon, which was called Salamesh in French. I had an actual plush toy Salamesh on my bed for years.
What? It's what is it?
It's the Charizard's first.
Charizard.
Charizard.
Oh, Charmander.
Charmander, there you go. That was it.
That I did not know they had different names in French. Any questions on recommend experience? Really cool demo from
Thanks,
Reed.
Red.
Yeah. Is it Red?
Reed?
Reed or Red?
How do you say that?
Phonetically spell your name.
But thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Hopefully we'll be able to share some of this code. And if no, head on to the Algolia Recommend GitHub page, Algolia Docs page. You should find all you need to get started and build your own.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll tell you my favorite Pokemon. It's also a starter Pokemon. It's Squirtle.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what that is in French.
It is Carapuce.
What? A shell?
They've been playing with names. You gotta admit that. Thank you, Stefan. I'm glad you liked it.
Great. We have 3 minutes. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. But otherwise, closing sessions are happening in a couple minutes. So you can head on over to the main stage. And yeah, if you liked what you see today, I know I'm like a face off screen, but if you liked what you've seen today at the demo lab, please check out all of the links that the teams today have sent over to check out experiences about connections and flows, predict, search infrastructure, and even recommend. Please let us know. We want to hear from you. We're trying to build better products every day, and we can't do that without user feedback. And it's up to you, to the developers, to help guide us on our journeys into a new world of search and discovery. So
well said.
I'm off screen because I've been in this hot room for too long.
Thank you so much.
Last words?
Well, thank you for your attention. I'll be looking forward to see what you build with Algolia Recommend. See you soon.
Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.